Right, here we're back again. Srimad Bhagavatam, 7th Canto, Chapter 9, starting with text 34. Pralahda's prayers to pacify the Lord. Tat sambhava kavir atonyad apashyamanas tvam bijam atmane tatam sabhir vichitya navindad abda satam apsu nimajamano jate kure katam uho pahaveta bijam. From that great lotus flower, Brahma was generated. But Brahma certainly could see nothing but the lotus. Therefore, thinking you to be outside, Lord Brahma dove into the water and attempted to find the source of the lotus for 100 years. He could not find any trace of you. However, when the seed fructifies, the original seed cannot be seen. Purport. This is a description of the cosmic manifestation. The development of the cosmic manifestation is like the fructification of a seed. When a cotton is transformed into a thread, the cotton is no longer visible. And when the thread is woven into a cloth, the thread is no longer visible. Similarly, it is perfectly correct that when the seed that had generated from the navel of Garbhodakashaya Vishnu became manifested as a cosmic creation, one could no longer understand where the cause of the cosmic manifestation is. Modern scientists have tried to explain the origin of creation by a chunk theory, but no one can explain how such a chunk might have burst. The Vedic literature, however, explains clearly that the total material energy was agitated by the three modes of material nature because of the glance of the Supreme Lord. In other words, in terms of the chunk theory, the bursting of the chunk was caused by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Thus one must accept the Supreme Cause, Lord Vishnu, as the cause of all causes. 35. Satwat mayonir ativishmita asrito jam kalena tivra tapasa padishuddha bhava tvam atmanisha bhuvi gandham ivati sukshmam bhutendriya saya maye vitatam tadarsha. Lord Brahma, who is celebrated as Atma Yoni, having been born without a mom, was struck with wonder. Thus he took shelter of the lotus flower, and when he had been purified after undergoing severe austerities for many hundreds of years, he could see that the cause of all causes, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, was spread throughout his own body and senses, just as aroma, although very subtle, is perceived in the earth. Purport. Here is a statement of self-realization, Aham Brahmasmi, which is interpreted by the Mayavadi philosophy to mean, I am the Supreme Lord. As explained, the Supreme Lord is the original seed of everything. Janmadhyasya yataha. 111 Bhagavatam. Aham sarvasya prabhavo matak sarvam pravartate. Bhagavad Gita 10:8. Thus the Supreme Lord extends everywhere, even throughout our bodies, because our bodies are made of material energy, which is the Lord's separated energy. One should realize that since the Supreme Lord spreads throughout one's body, and since the individual soul is a part of the Supreme Lord, everything is Brahman. Sarva kala idam Brahma. This realization was achieved by Lord Brahma after he was purified, and it is possible for everyone. When one is completely in knowledge of Aham Brahmasmi, he thinks, I am part of the Supreme Lord. My body is made of his material energy, and therefore I have no separate existence. Yet although the Supreme Lord is spread everywhere, he is different from me. This is the philosophy of Achintya Bheda Bheda Tattva. An example given in this regard is that the aroma within the earth In the earth there are aromas and colors, but one cannot see them. Actually, we can find that when flowers grow from the earth, they appear with different colors and aromas, which they have certainly gathered from the earth, although in the earth we cannot see them. Similarly, the Supreme Lord, by his different energies, spreads throughout one's body and soul, although we cannot see him. An intelligent man, however, can see the Supreme Lord existing everywhere. Andantarasta paramanu chayantarastam. The Lord is within the universe and within the atom by his different energies. This is the real vision of the Supreme Lord for the intelligent man. Brahma, the first created living being, became the most intelligent person by his tapasya, austerity, and thus he came to this realization. We must therefore take all knowledge from Brahma, who became perfect by his tapasya. 36. Evam sahasra vananangri shirat kavoru nasajya karna nayana varanayudayam mayam sad upalakshita sanivesham drishtva maha purusham apamudambichin virincha. Lord Brahma could then see you possessing thousands and thousands of faces, feet, heads, hands, thighs, noses, eyes, and ears. You were very nicely dressed, being decorated with varieties of ornaments and weapons. Seeing you in the form of Lord Vishnu, your symptoms and form being transcendental, your legs extending from the lower planets, Lord Brahma achieved transcendental bliss. Purport. Lord Brahma, being completely pure, could see the original form of the Lord as Vishnu, having many thousands of faces and forms. The process is called self-realization. Genuine self-realization consists not of perceiving the impersonal effulgence of the Lord, but seeing face to face the transcendental form of the Lord, as distinctly mentioned here. Lord Brahma saw the Supreme Lord as the Mahapurusha, Supreme Personality of Godhead. Arjuna also saw Krishna in the same way. Therefore, he told the Lord, Param Brahma, Param Dhamma, Pavitram, Padamam Bhavan, Purusham, Shasvatam, Divyam, 10:12. You are the Supreme Brahman, the ultimate, the supreme abode and purifier, the absolute truth, and the eternal divine person. The Lord is Parama Purush, the supreme form, Purushatam Shasvatam. He is everlasting, the supreme enjoyer. It is not that the personal Brahman assumes a form. On the contrary, the impersonal Brahman effulgence is an emanation from the supreme form of the Lord. Upon being purified, Brahma could see the supreme form of the Lord. The impersonal Brahman cannot have heads, noses, eyes, ears, and hands and legs. This is not possible, for these are attributes of the Lord's form. The word Maya means spiritual knowledge. This is explained by Madhvacharya. Mayam Jnana Sarupam. The word Mayam, describing the Lord's form, should not be taken to mean illusion. Rather, the Lord's form is factual, and seeing this form is the result of perfect knowledge. This is confirmed in Bhagavad Gita, Bahunam Jamanamante Jnanavam Mam Papadyate, 7:19. The word Jnanavan refers to one who is perfectly in knowledge. Such a person can see the personality of Godhead. Therefore, he surrenders unto the Lord. The Lord's being symptomized by a face, nose, eyes, and so on is eternal. Without such a form, no one can be blissful. The Lord, however, is Satchit Ananda Vigraha. As stated in the Shastra, Ishvara Parama Krishna Satchit Ananda Vigraha. When one is in perfect transcendental bliss, he can see the Lord's supreme form, Vigraha. In this regard, Srila Madhvacharya says, Gandhakya Devata Yadvat Pritivim Vyapya Tishtati Evam Vyaptam Jagat Vishnum Brahmatma Stam Dadarshaha. Lord Brahma saw that as aromas and colors spread throughout the earth, the Supreme Personality of Godhead pervades the cosmic manifestation in a subtle form. I always think of dates, the most far out. The sweetest dates in the world come from around the Dead Sea, but the land is like salt, it's just There's no way you could imagine there's anything sweet in that earth. Date tree can get it out, right? No scientist can get it out. Tasmai bhavan ayashiras tanuvanhi vibrat veda druha vivit balo madhu kaita bakyo atvanayats chuti ganams cha rajas tamas cha satvam tava priyatamam tanum amananti. My dear Lord, when you appeared as Hayagriva with the head of a horse, you killed two demons known as Madhu and Kaitava, who were full of modes of passion and ignorance. Then you delivered the Vedic knowledge to Lord Brahma. For this reason, all the great saints accept your forms as transcendental, untinged by material qualities. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, in his transcendental purport form, is always ready to give protection to his devotees, as mentioned herein. The Lord, in the form of Hayagriva, killed two demons named Madhu and Kaitava when they attacked Lord Brahma. Modern demons think that there is no life in the beginning of creation, but from Srimad Bhagavatam we understand that the first living creature created by the Supreme Personality of Godhead was Lord Brahma, who is full of Vedic understanding. Unfortunately, those entrusted with distributing Vedic knowledge, such as the devotees engaged in spreading Krishna consciousness, may sometimes be attacked by demons. The Vedas provide the knowledge by which we can understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Vedaista sarvaya rahameva vidya, Safin 15. The devotees of the Lord are always ready to spread knowledge by which one may understand the Lord through Krishna consciousness. But the demons, being unable to understand the Supreme Lord, are full of ignorance and passion. Thus the Lord, whose form is transcendental, is always ready to kill the demons. By culturing the mode of goodness, one can understand the position of the transcendental Lord and how the Lord is always prepared to remove all obstacles on the path of understanding Him. In summary, whenever the Lord incarnates, He appears in His original transcendental form, as the Lord says in Bhagavad Gita, Yada yada yadharmasya dvani bhavati bharata abhyutanam adharmasya tadatmanam shadamyaham. Whenever and wherever there is a decline in religious practice, O descendant of Bharat, and a predominant rise of your religion, at that time I descend myself. It is simply foolish to think of the Lord as being originally impersonal, but accepting a material body when He appears as a personal incarnation. Wherever the Lord appears, He appears in His original transcendental form, which is spiritual and blissful. But unintelligent men, such as Mayavadis, cannot understand the transcendental form of the Lord. Therefore the Lord chastises them by saying, Avajananti mam mudha manusim tanam asritam. 9:11. Fools deride me when I descend in the human form. Whenever the Lord appears, whether as a fish, a tortoise, a hog, or any other form, one should understand that He maintains His transcendental position, and His only business, as stated here, is hatva, to kill the demons. The Lord appears in order to protect the devotees and kill the demons. Parichanaya sadhunam vinashaya chaduskitam. Since the demons are always ready to oppose Vedic civilization, they are sure to be killed by the transcendental form of the Lord. 38. Itam nitir yag vishadeva jasavataraya lokan vayasi hamsi jagat pratipan dharmam mahaparushapasi yugana vritam chanakalo yad abhavas triyugo tasatvam. In this way, my Lord, you appear in various incarnations as a human being, an animal, a great saint, a demigod, a fish, or a tortoise, thus maintaining the entire creation in different planetary systems and killing the demoniac principles. According to the age, O my Lord, you protect the principles of religion. In the age of Kali, however, you do not assert yourself as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and therefore you are known as Triyuga, or the Lord who appears in 3 yugas. Purport. As the Lord appeared just to maintain Lord Brahma from the attack of Madhu and Kaitava. He also appeared to protect the great devotee Pralahda Maharaj. Similarly, Lord Chaitanya appeared in order to protect the fallen souls of Kali Yuga. There are 4 yugas, or millenniums: Satya, Treta, Dwarpa, and Kali. In all the yugas but Kali Yuga, the Lord appears in various incarnations and asserts himself as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But although Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who appears in Kali Yuga, is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he never asserted himself as such. On the contrary, whenever Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was addressed as being as good as Krishna, he blocked his ears with his hands, denying his identity with Krishna because he was playing the part of a devotee. Lord Chaitanya knew that in Kali Yuga there would be many bogus incarnations pretending to be God. Therefore, he avoided asserting himself as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is accepted as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, however, in many Vedic literatures, especially Srimad Bhagavatam 11.5.32. Krishna Varnam Tush'a Krishna Sango Pangasa Parshadam Yagyai Sankirtana Praya Yajantihi Sumedasa. In Kali Yuga, intelligent men worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead in the form of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is always accompanied by his associates such as Nityananda, Advaita, Gadadhar, and Shivas. The entire Krishna conscious movement is based on the principles of the Sankirtan movement inaugurated by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Therefore, one who tries to understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead through the medium of the Sankirtan movement knows everything perfectly. He is Sumedas, a person with substantial intelligence. 39. Naitat manastava katasu vaikuntanata sampriyate durita dushtam asadu tivram kamaturam harsha shoka vaya shanartam tasmin katam tava gatim vimrishami dina. My dear Lord of the Vaikuntha planets, where there is no anxiety, my mind is extremely sinful and lusty, being sometimes so-called happy, sometimes so-called distressed. My mind is full of lamentation and fear, and it always seeks more and more money. Thus it has become most polluted and is never satisfied in topics concerning you. I am therefore most fallen and poor in such a status of life. How shall I be able to discuss your activities? Purport. Here Pralahda represents himself as a common man, although he actually has nothing to do with this material world. Pralahda is always situated in the Vaikuntha planets of the spiritual world, but on behalf of the fallen souls, he asks how, when his mind is always disturbed by material things, he can discuss the transcendental position of the Lord. The mind becomes sinful because we are always engaged in sinful activities. Anything not connected with Krishna consciousness should be understood to be sinful. Indeed, Krishna demands in Bhagavad Gita, Sarva Dharma Parityajya Mami Kam Sharanam Vraja Ham Tam Sarva Papebhyo Mokshayasyami Masucha. Abandon all varieties of religion and just surrender unto me. I shall deliver you from all sinful reaction. Do not fear. As soon as one surrenders unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna immediately relieves one of the reactions of sinful activities. Therefore, one who is not surrendered to the lotus feet of the Lord should be understood to be sinful, foolish, degraded among men, and bereft of all real knowledge because of the atheistic propensities. This is confirmed in Bhagavad Gita 7.10. Namam duskritino muda pajante naradama maya prahityagana asuram bhavamashita. Therefore, especially in this age of Kali, the mind must be cleansed, and this is possible only by chanting of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, Cheto Darpana Marjanam. In this age, the process of chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra is the only method by which to cleanse the sinful mind. When the mind is completely cleansed of all sinful reactions, one can then understand his duty in the human form of life. The Krishna conscious movement is meant to educate sinful men so that they may become pious simply by chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra Hari Nama, Hari Nama, Hari Nam Aiva Kevalam, Kalona Stevana, 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 Gatiranyata. To cleanse the heart so that one may become sober and wise in this age of Kali, there is no value in any method other than chanting the holy name of Hare Krishna mantra. Prahlad Maharaj has confirmed this process in previous verses. Twadvirya, Gayana, Mahamrita, Magna Chitta. Prahlad further confirms that if one's mind is always absorbed in thought of Krishna, that very qualification will purify one and keep one purified all. To understand the Lord and his activities of the material world, one must free his mind from the contamination of the material world, and then one can achieve by simply chanting the Lord's holy name. Thus one becomes free from all material bondage. I'm going to sit down now. Yes. Oh my. Jivaikato chitta vikarshati mavi chitta shishnon tas twad udaram shavanam kutas chit gato yantas chapaladrik kachakarma shaktir bhavya sapatya ivageha patim unanti. My dear Lord, O infallible one, my position is like that of a person who has many wives, all trying to attract him in their own way. For example, the tongue is attracted to palatable dishes, the genitals to sex, with an attractive woman, and the sense of touch to contact with soft things. The belly, although filled, still wants to eat more, and the ear, not attempting to hear about you, is generally attracted to cinema songs. The sense of smell is attracted to yet another side. The restless eyes are attracted to scenes of sense gratification, and the active senses are attracted elsewhere. In this way, I am certainly embarrassed. Purport. The human form of life is meant for God realization. But this process, which begins with Shavanam Kirtanam Vishnu, hearing and chanting of the holy name of the Lord, is disturbed as long as our senses are materially attracted. Therefore, devotional service means purifying the senses. In the conditioned state, our senses are covered by material sense gratification, and as long as one is not trained in purifying the senses, one cannot become a devotee. In our Krishna conscious movement, therefore, we advise from the very beginning that one restrict the activities of the senses, especially the tongue, which is described by Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur as most greedy and unconquerable. To stop this attraction of the tongue, one is authoritatively advised not to accept meat or similar unedible things, nor to allow the tongue to hanker to drink or smoke. Even the drinking of tea and coffee is not permitted. Similarly, the genitals must be restricted from illicit sex. Without such restraint of the senses, one cannot make advancement in Krishna consciousness. The only method of controlling the senses is to chant and hear the holy name of the Lord. Otherwise, one will always be disturbed, as a householder with more than one wife would be disturbed by them for sense gratification. Evam swakarma patitam bhava vaitaranyam anyonya janma maranashana bita bitam pasyan janam swapara vigraha vaira matram anteti parachada piprihi mudam adya. My dear Lord, you are always transcendently situated on the other side of the river of death. But because of the reactions of our own activities, we are suffering on this side. Indeed, we have fallen into this river and are repeatedly suffering the pains of birth and death and eating horrible things. Now kindly look upon us, not only upon me, but also all others who are suffering, and by your causeless mercy and compassion, deliver us and maintain us. Prahlad Maharaj, a pure Vaishnava, prays to the Lord not only for himself, but for all other suffering living entities. There are two classes of Vaishnavas, Bhajananadis and Goshtanadis. The Bhajananadis worship the Lord only for their own personal benefit, but the Goshtanadis try to elevate all others to Krishna consciousness so they may be saved. Fools who cannot perceive repeated birth and death and the other miseries of materialistic life cannot be sure of what will happen to them in their next birth. Indeed, these foolish, materially contaminated rascals have manufactured an irresponsible way of life that does not consider the next life. They do not know that according to one's own activities, one receives a body selected from 8,400,000 species. These rascals have been described in Bhagavad Gita as duskritino mudhaha. Non-devotees, those who are not Krishna conscious, must engage in sinful activities. Therefore they are mudha, fools and rascals. They are such fools that do not know what will happen to them in their next life, although they see varieties of living entities eating abominable things, pigs eating stool, crocodiles eating all kinds of flesh, and so on. They do not realize that they themselves, because of their practice of eating all kinds of nonsense in this life, will be destined to eat the most abominable things in the next life. A Vaishnava is always afraid of such abominable life, and to free himself from such horrible conditions, he engages himself in devotional service of the Lord. The Lord is compassionate to them, therefore he appears for their benefit. Yada yada yadharmasya glanir bhavati bharata abhyutanam adharmasya tadatmanam shajamyam. Whenever and wherever there is a decline in religious practice, O descendant of Bharat, and a predominant rise of irreligion, at that time I descend myself. The Lord is always ready to help the fallen souls. But because they are fools and rascals, they do not take to Krishna consciousness and abide by the instructions of Krishna. Therefore, although Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is personally the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he comes as a devotee to preach the Krishna consciousness movement. Yade deke tare deke Krishna Upadesh. One must therefore become a sincere devotee of Krishna. Hamara Agya Guru Haya Tara Edesh 728 Madhya Lila 128. One should become a guru and spread Krishna consciousness all over the world simply by preaching the teachings of Bhagavad Gita. 42. Ko vatra te kila guru bhagavan prayasa uttarane sha bhava sambhava lopaheto mudeshu voy mahad anugraha artabando kimtena te priyajanan anusevatam na. O my Lord, Supreme Personality of Godhead, of original spiritual master of the entire world, what is the difficulty for you who manage the affairs of the universe in delivering the fallen souls engaged in your devotional service? You are the friend of all suffering humanity, and for great personalities it is necessary to show mercy to the foolish. Therefore, I think that you will show your causeless mercy to persons like us who engage in your service. Here the word Priya Janan Anusevatam Na indicate that the Supreme Lord, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is very favorable to devotees who act according to his instructions of his own pure devotees. In other words, one must become a servant of the servant of the servant of the Lord if one wants to become a servant of the Lord directly. This is not as fruitful as engaging in the service of the Lord's servant. This is the direction of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who shows us the way to become Gopi Bhartu Padakamalyor Das Anudas. One should not be proud of becoming directly the servant of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Rather, he must seek a pure devotee, a servant of the Lord, and engage himself in the service of the servant. The more one becomes a servant of the servant, the more one becomes perfect in devotional service. This also is instruction of Bhagavad Gita, Evam parampara praptam, 4:2. One can understand the service of the Supreme Personality of Godhead simply by the parampara system. In this regard, Nrsimha Thakur says, Tandera charana sevi bhakti sannivas. Let me serve the lotus feet of the devotees of the Lord, and let me live with devotees. Janame janame hoy, e abhilas. Following Nrsimha Thakur, one should aspire to be a servant of the Lord's servant, life after life. Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur also sings, Tumi ta Thakura tomara kukura, bolia janaha more. O my Lord, O Vaishnava, please consider me your dog. One must become a dog of a Vaishnava. A pure devotee. For a pure devotee can deliver Krishna without difficulty. Krishna say Tomar, Krishna dite par. Krishna is the property of his pure devotee, and if we take shelter of his pure devotee, they can deliver Krishna very easily. Prahlad wants to engage in the service of the devotee. Therefore he prays to Krishna, my dear Lord, kindly give me the shelter of your very dear devotee so that I may engage in his service and you may be pleased. Mad Bhakta Pujaya Bitika. Bhagavatam 11:19-21. The Lord says, engaging in the service of my devotee is better than trying to engage in my own service. Another significant point in this verse is that by devotional service, Prahlad Maharaj does not want to benefit alone. Another significant in this verse is that by devotional service, Prahlad Maharaj does not want to benefit alone. He prays to the Lord that all of us by the grace of the Lord engage in the service of his servant and thus be delivered. The grace of the Lord is not at all difficult for the Lord to bestow, and thus Prahlad Maharaj wants to have the whole world by spreading Krishna consciousness. Nai Bodh Vijay Para Duratyaya Vaitaranyas Twadvirya Gayana Mahamrita Magna Chitta Soche Tato Vimukha Chetasa Indriyartha Maya Sukhaya Baram Udvahato Vimudan. O best of the great personalities, I am not at all afraid of material existence, nor for wherever I stay I am fully absorbed in thoughts of your glory and activities. My concern is only for the fools and rascals who are making elaborate plans for material happiness and for maintaining their families, societies, and countries. I am certainly concerned, simply concerned for love for them. Throughout the entire world, report. Throughout the entire world, everyone is making big plans to adjust the miseries of the material world, and this is true at present, in the past and the future. Nonetheless, although they make elaborate political, social, and cultural plans, they have all been described herein as vimuda, fools. The material world has been described in Bhagavad Gita as dukalayam ashasvatam, 8:15, temporary and miserable. But these fools are trying to turn the material world into sukalayam, a place of happiness and knowing how everything acts by the arrangement of material nature, which works in her own way. The material world has been described in Bhagavad Gita, temporary and miserable. They are trying to turn the material world into a place of happiness, knowing how everything acts by the arrangement of the material nature, which works in her own way. Here they have a minister of happiness, a new minister of happiness. They think everybody has a right to be happy, and they want to try to make people happy. Nice idea. Prakrite kriyamanani gunai karmani sarvasha ahankara vimudakma kartahamiti manyati. The bewildered spirit soul, under the influence of the three modes of nature, thinks himself to be the doer of activities that are actually carried out by nature. 327. There is a plan for material nature, personally known as Durga, to punish the demons. Although the asuras, the godless demons, struggle for existence, they are directly attacked by the goddess Durga, who is well equipped with 10 hands with different types of weapons to punish them. She is carried by her lion carrier or by the modes of passion and ignorance. Every struggle is very hard to fight through the modes of passion and ignorance and conquer material nature, but at the end everyone is vanquished by nature's laws. There is a river known as Vaitarani between the material and spiritual worlds, but one must cross this river to reach the other side, or the spiritual world. This is an extremely difficult task, as the Lord says in Bhagavad Gita, Daivi yesha gunamayi mama maya duratyaya. This divine energy of mine, consisting of the three modes of material nature, is difficult to overcome. The same word duratyaya means very difficult, as used here. Therefore, one cannot surpass the stringent laws of material nature except by the mercy of the Supreme Lord. Nonetheless, although all materialists are baffled by their plans, they try again and again to become happy in this material world. Therefore, they have been described as Vimuda, first-class fools. As Pralahda Maharaj, he was not at all unhappy, for although he was in the material world, he was full of Krishna consciousness. Those who are Krishna conscious, trying to serve the Lord, are not happy, whereas one who has no assets in Krishna consciousness and is struggling for existence is not only foolish, but extremely unhappy also. Simultaneously, he felt happiness and transcendental bliss because of his being Krishna conscious, yet he felt great unhappiness for the fools and rascals who make elaborate plans to be happy. Next verse, 44. Prayena deva munaya svabhimukti kama monam charanti vijanena paratanishta naitan vihaya kripanan vimuksha eko nanyam tvarasya sharanam brahmato nupasye. My dear Lord Nrsimha, I see that there are many saintly persons indeed. They are interested only in their own deliverance, not caring for the big cities and towns. They go to the Himalaya for the forest to meditate with vows of silence, Monavrat. They are not interested in delivering others. As for me, however, I do not wish to be liberated alone, living inside all the dear Lord Nrsimhadev, I see that there are many saintly persons indeed, but they are interested only in their own deliverance, not caring for the big cities and towns. They go to the Himalaya or the forest to meditate with vows and moan about it. They are not interested in delivering others. As for me, however, I do not wish to be liberated alone, leaving aside all these poor fools and rascals. I know that without Krishna consciousness, without taking shelter of your lotus feet, one cannot be happy. Therefore, I wish to bring them back to the shelter of your lotus feet. So there's the real Vaishnava mentality. Purport: this is the decision of a Vaishnava. The pure devotees of the Lord for himself has no problems, even if he has to stay in the mature world, because his only business is to remain in Krishna consciousness. The Krishna conscious person can go even to hell and still be happy. Therefore, Prahlad Maharaj said, Naivod Vijay Pada Duratyaya Vaitaranya. O best of all the great personalities, I am not at all afraid of material existence. The pure devotee is never happy in any condition of life. Srimad Bhagavatam confirms. Narayana Nakustasya Nabhivyati Swarga Pravarga Narkeshu Api Tulyarta Darshana. Devotees solely engage in the devotional service of the Lord Narayan never fear any condition of life. For them the heavenly planets, liberation, and hellish planets are all the same. For such devotees are interested only in the service of the Lord. For a devotee being situated in the heavenly planets and being in the hellish planets are equal. For a devotee lives neither in heaven nor in hell, but with Krishna in the spiritual world. The secret of success for the devotee is not understood by the karmis and gyanis. Karmis therefore try to be happy by material adjustment, and gyanis want to be happy by becoming one with the Supreme. The devotee has no such interest. He is not interested in so-called meditation in the Himalayas or the forest. Rather, his interest is to go
in the business part of the world.
Rather, his interest is the busiest part of the world, where he teaches people Krishna consciousness. The Krishna consciousness movement was started for this purpose. We do not teach one to meditate in a secluded place just so that one may show that he has become very much advanced and may be proud of his so-called transcendental meditation, although he engages in all sorts of foolish materialistic activity. A Vaishnava like Prahlad Maharaj is not interested in such a bluff of material advancement. Rather, he is interested in enlightening Prahlad Maharaj is not interested. He is interested in enlightening people in Krishna consciousness because that is the only way for them to become happy. Prahlad Maharaj says clearly, Nanyam Tvad Asya Sharanam Brahma To Nupashe. I know that without Krishna consciousness, without taking shelter of your lotus feet, one cannot be happy. One wanders throughout within the universe, life after life, but by the grace of the devotee, a servant of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, one can get the clue to Krishna consciousness and then not only become happy in this world, but also return home back to Godhead. That is the real target in this life. The members of the Krishna consciousness movement are not at all Yanmai tunari grihamedi sukami tucham kanduvanena kadayori vaduka dukam tripyanti neya kripana bahuduka baja kandutivam manasijam visaheta dira Sex life is compared to rubbing of two hands to relieve an itch. Grihamedis, so-called grihastas, who have no spiritual knowledge, think that this itching is the greatest platform of happiness, although actually it is a source of distress. The kripanas, the fools, who are just like the opposite of brahmanas, are not satisfied by repeated sensuous enjoyment. Those who are dhira, however, who are sober and who tolerate this itching, are not subjected to the sufferings of fools and rascals. Materialists think that sexual indulgence is the greatest happiness in this material world. Therefore, they make elaborate plans to satisfy their senses, especially the genitals. This is generally found everywhere, and specifically found in the Western world, where there are regular arrangements to satisfy sex in different ways. Actually, however, this has not been made anyone happy. Even the hippies, who have given up all materialistic comforts of their fathers and grandfathers, cannot give up the sensational happiness of sex life. Such persons are described here as kripanas, misers. The human form of life is a great asset, for in this life one can fulfill the goal of existence. Unfortunately, however, because of the lack of education and culture, people are victimized by the false happiness of sex life. Prahlad Maharaj therefore advises one not to be misled by this civilization of sense gratification, and especially not by sex life. Therefore, one should be sober, avoid sense gratification, and be Krishna conscious. The lusty person, who is compared to a foolish miser, never gets happiness by sense gratification. The influence of material nature is very difficult to surpass, as is stated by Krishna in Bhagavad Gita, Mam eva ye prapadyante mayametam taranti te, 7:14. If one voluntarily submits to the lotus feet of Krishna, he can be saved very easily. In reference to low-grade happiness of sex life, Yamunacharya says in this connection, Yada vadi mama cheta Krishna padada vinda nava nava rasa daman nud yata rantuma sit tadavadi bata nari sangame smaryamane bhavati mukha vikara susti nistivanam cha. Since I have been engaged in the transcendental loving service of Krishna, realizing ever new pleasure in him, whenever I think of sex pleasure, I spit at the thought and my lips curl with distaste. Yamunacharya had formerly been a great king who enjoyed sexual happiness in various ways. But since he later engaged himself in the service of the Lord, he enjoyed spiritual bliss and hated to think of sex life. If sexual thoughts come to him, he would spit with disgust. Prabhupada said, I spite on him. Mona vrata shuta tapo dhyana swadharma vyakya raho japa samadaya apavargya praya param purushate tvajendriyanam varta bhavantyuta navartu tu dambikanam. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, there are 10 prescribed methods on the point of liberation: to remain silent, not to speak to anyone, to observe vows, to amass all kinds of Vedic knowledge, to undergo austerities, to study the Vedas and other Vedic literatures, to execute the duties of Varnashram Dharma, to explain the Shastras, to stay in a solitary place, to chant mantras silently, and to be absorbed in trance. These different methods of liberation are generally only of professional practice and means of livelihood for those who have not conquered their senses. Because such persons are falsely proud, they may not be successful. As stated in 6 Bhagavatam 6.1.15, Kechit kevalaya bhakta vasudeva parayanaha agam duvanti kartsnyena nirharam eva bhakshara. Only a rare person who has adopted complete, unalloyed devotional service to Krishna can uproot the weeds of sinful actions, with no possibility that they will revive. He can do this simply by discharging devotional service, just as the sun can immediately dissipate fog by its rays. The real purpose of human life is to attain liberation from material entanglement. Such liberation may be achieved by many methods, tapasa, brahmacharyena, samena cha, damena cha, 6.113. But all of them more or less depend on tapasya, austerity, which begins with celibacy. Sukadeva Goswami says that those who are Vasudeva Parayana, who have fully surrendered on the lotus feet of Lord Vasudeva, Krishna, automatically achieve the results of mona, silence, vrata, vows, and other such methods, simply by discharging devotional service. In other words, these methods are not so powerful. If one takes to devotional service, all of them can be very easily performed. Mauna, for example, does not mean that one should just stop speaking. The tongue is meant for speaking, although sometimes to make a big show, a person remains silent. There are many who observe silence some day in a week. Vaishnavas, however, do not observe such silence. Silence means not speaking foolishly. Speakers at assemblies, conferences, and meetings generally speak foolishly like toads. This is described by Srila Rupa Goswami as Vacho Begam. One who wants to say something can show himself to be a big orator. But rather than go on speaking nonsense, better to remain silent. This method of silence, however, is recommended for persons very attached to speaking nonsense. One who is not a devotee must speak nonsensically because he does not have the power to speak about the glories of the Lord. Thus, whatever he says is influenced by the illusory energy and is compared to the croaking of a frog. One who speaks about the glories of the Lord, however, has no need to be silent. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu recommends Kirtaniya Sada Hari. One should go on chanting the glories of the Lord 24 hours a day. There is no question of becoming mauna. The 10 processes of liberation or improvement in the path of liberation are not meant for the devotees. Kevalaya Bhakta. If one simply engaged in devotional service, all 10 methods are automatically observed. Prahlad Maharaj's proposal is that such processes may be recommended for the Ajitendriya, those who cannot conquer their senses. Devotees, however, have already conquered their senses. Sarvopadi vinirmuktam tat paratvaina nirmalam. A devotee is already freed from material contamination. Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur has said, Dushta mana tumi kishara Vaishnav pratishtara tare nirjanera gare tava hari nama kevala kaitava. There are many who like to chant the Hare Krishna mantra in a silent, solitary